Welcome to the Lovability Podcast. My name is Jennifer Stiers, and I'm here to talk love, relationships, sex, marriage, and everything in between. Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. Welcome to the Lovability Show. My name is Jennifer Stiers, and I am joined today by Colin Tate / Charles McMillan. I have to give both of his names because many of you know him as Colin Tate from his book, Is That Your Man, right?
There you go.
Is That Your Man? And great book for you ladies. I know many of you have already read it. You have a big fan base here, Charles. So today we're talking about dating and relationship truth bombs. So I just thought with the end of the year being here, we might as well recap the most important things that all of you need to know going into 2022 if you want to find love. So first and foremost, before we get started, I'd like to recognize also my t-shirt. So it is Georgia Bulldogs. We've got a big game tomorrow. Georgia Bulldogs will be beating the Alabama, Roll Tide, whatever. Anyway, we will be killing them tomorrow. That is my prediction. Yes. We're not just going to win; we're going to kill them. So go Dogs. Okay, so thank you guys for joining us here today. So Charles, it is interesting. So I told him what I wanted to talk about, and of course, most of our topics, most of the things that we came up with are the same. So it just goes to show you that no matter where you are, that these are the same issues happening in dating everywhere, all over the place. And the biggest issues that are happening, because we both came up again with most of the same ones. I'm going to drill in a few points that I do all the time with my posts every day as well. So we've got Joshua, Kelly, we share a G. She's a Green Bay fan, and Georgia and Green Bay share that G situation. Darren, hello, welcome. Lee, welcome. I know we have other people. I can see them, but I can't see them on our feed. It's weird how it shows a number of people watching, but I can't see them. Okay, so I am going to hand the mic over to you, Charles. You are so incredibly wise out there in Atlanta, Georgia. Tell us, Ron. Oh yeah, I got the jokes going. He's an Alabama fan, but yeah. All right. Hey, Jenny. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to you. So, what is your number one? If you had the number one tip for people that are dating, that are looking for love, what's your top one tip?
Tip number one, I would say, if you are an Alabama fan, you will not find love in 2022.
Yes.
But seriously, tip number one, this goes for men and women, is you have to be clear on the type of man or the type of woman that you want in your life. For example, if you have these unrealistic expectations of what you're looking for, then God may not be there to present that said person. So for example, like before I was married, if I said I wanted someone who was, into goth music, who drove a Harley Davidson and was 6'9" and I'm 6 foot tall, that just wasn't going to be a good fit. So we got to do what's called an autopsy of the type of man and the type of the woman you're looking for, because we want to make sure we're not looking for someone based off a lot of unhealthy values, if that makes sense.
Yes. Did he freeze? Looks like he did.
I can hear you, but I can freeze. I think I did.
Yeah, we can hear you, but it looks like your camera froze.
Camera froze. It's just it's something's going on with Facebook today. So just keep chatting. We can hear you.
Perfect. So, like I said, those are the big things. You want to make sure that you're not doing the same thing in 2019 and 2020, 2021, and it keeps going on and on. Because what you'll find is when I've counseled a lot of people, they say, well, you know, it took me 5 years to find love. It took me 8 years, 6 years to find love. What I realized with talking with them, and me included, it wasn't that it took 5 years. It was that you kept repeating the same year over and over and over and over again. Yes. Meaning you kept going after the same type of man or woman over and over and over again. You had the same dysfunctional issues over and over and over again. So that's our job today, is to kind of pivot, if you will, and let's do an autopsy on the type of man or woman you're looking for and make sure it's based off healthy values.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. I agree with you wholeheartedly. You know, it's interesting because I think, you know, number one is people do repeat the same patterns. There's no doubt. And until you heal it, you're going to keep attracting the same people and having the same issue, as Charles said. And you have to look at that. You have to be willing to stop. And I hope everybody takes a little bit of time at the end of the year to say, and it doesn't, relationally, great. This is obviously, that's why we're here. It would be great to take stock of what's not working in your relationships. I'm freezing also.
Yeah. That's just on that screen. You're good to go.
I don't. It's hello technology. Anyway, so it's important that we take stock of what we're doing, what our patterns are in all of life. I mean, if there's anything in your life that you want to change, that you want to stop, that you want to shift, now's a really good time to do it. I mean, any time's a good time to do it, but I do know that now at the end of the year and beginning a new year, there's never a better time than to make those changes and to leave, you know, the old you behind that wasn't working. And, you know, the one thing we always talk about is, you know, what's the one thing you bring into every relationship that you've had? And that's you. That's right. Yeah. You know, having said that, so get to know your patterns, look at your previous relationships. What's something or multiple themes that have been showing up? Those are the things that you need to look at signs or get some help for how to get rid of those patterns. Because I find as a counselor, I mean, what we're doing, as a matter of fact, I sat in front of a 50-something-year-old woman today that was talking about, I married my dad. Why didn't people warn me that, you know, I was marrying my father? Why didn't somebody tell me? But that's what we do. If we're not, you know, doing this consciously, you know, women marry their dads, men marry their mothers, and it's the unhealed wounds, and they'll just keep showing up, as Charles said, until you heal them. So fix it first, right? That's
right. You got to fix it because and I feel for that young lady who you spoke about, who realized she married her father, and you know, in her defense, you know, maybe people who were around her, if they weren't, you know, counselors or relationship people, they may have not have had the in-depth knowledge to give her that type of advice. They just saw, you know, hey, here's a man. He seems like a nice guy. He's willing to take you down the aisle. Go for it. I mean, so there are a lot of people, men and women, who cannot see what's underneath the surface. And so I think that's one of the reasons why Jennifer and I are so passionate about it, because we're able to see things that you cannot see. And one thing everyone, I want you to understand, if you're still struggling with finding love, there has to be something from your past that needs to be healed, whether it was an abusive situation, whether it was, you know, whether it was something with your parents, mother wasn't in your life, father wasn't in your life, teased, whatever it was, there's something from your past that you're dragging to your current adult life that is dictating the type of love you have. And this goes for men and women. Because again, I'm a man that struggled to find love. I could date all day long, but could never find the type of woman I needed. I would find the type of woman I wanted, but not the woman I needed. There's a big difference of what you want and what you need.
You know, that's such a great point, and I will allow us to roll into one of my points with that, and that is that we have got to be going on more than just the surface. You know, we've talked about this a million times, and the fact that it's one thing if you you don't I'm sorry, if there's stuff happening. I lost you, Charles. There you are. So we have to be choosing differently than we did in high school. You know, in high school, we're looking for the crush. We're looking for butterflies in our stomach. We're all about that attraction. And at the end of the day, it has to be about more. I mean, it has to be about substance. As Charles said, that there's more to it. We figured this out. What more do you need? You know, I was sitting the other day getting my hair done, and I was asking my new hairdresser, which she doesn't watch the show, so I can say it, but I was asking her what she wanted. Like, she was saying she couldn't find anybody good and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what are you looking for? And every time she left me and came back, she'd come back with something else because she'd never thought about it. Like, she literally would come back and she'd say, you know what? I don't want anybody that runs marathons because I'm not a runner. And I don't want somebody that's like so old, but you know, not too young either. And I mean, her parameters for what she was looking for were silly. I mean, as a 40 to 50 or 60-year-old human, you should be clearer on what you want to a point where you could describe them. I mean, almost if it was food, taste it. You know what I mean? You should be able to be that specific on what you're looking for, because if you're not, no wonder you can't find it, because you're going on outside, shallow parameters, and some of you are just looking for the looks. You want to just, be attracted to somebody, have them turn you on. I know people say, well, I just can't imagine kissing them. I mean, you never know what that's going to be like. I mean, has anybody ever kissed you that you didn't imagine kissing, that it turned into something amazing? It happens, it happens, people. I hear about these stories all the time. People that weren't attracted to somebody on a first or second date, and then all of a sudden, bam, the relationship takes a little turn and they're attracted.
Yeah. And the thing is, what you're talking about, Jennifer, just be open. Again, don't go into every date or every interaction during online dating as, this is my husband, this is my wife. Let's not start marching he or she down the aisle, because, men do the same thing. I like to call these Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, we call that the suicide strut, because it's tough. When you're single and you want to be in a relationship, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Eve, Valentine's Day, it's a tough time of year for a lot of people. And so like Jennifer said, you just have to be open and not be so looks driven, because if you're still so heavily looks driven, or if you're still telling people that, oh, this is a great guy, but I didn't feel that spark, I didn't feel that it factor, I didn't feel that they say toi, whatever they want to call it, then that's more about you. Because if anyone's listening right now and you've dated someone that on paper was a great match, your friends thought it was a great match, but you yourself just internally said, I don't know what it is, I can't figure it out, I just don't feel those butterflies. When you're talking that way, that is your dysfunction leading the story. Because a lot of us right now who are single, looking for love, I promise you, the person you end up falling in love with, that's going to be healthy. The beginning of the process, it will be boring. I repeat, men, women who are listening to the show right now, looking to find love and have had trouble, the person you meet that you're going to fall in love with, I promise you, it will seem boring in the beginning. And the reason it will seem boring is because you're going to meet somebody that is healthy, doesn't have a lot of issues, and will not activate your dysfunction. Because we confuse dysfunction and drama with excitement. So just remember that. This has happened with a lot of my friends. It's happened with me and a lot of other people. It will seem boring. It will seem mundane. You won't feel those butterflies because you're meeting somebody who's healthy that says you're good enough. You don't have to go through all these relationship hoops and obstacle courses.
Yes.
You're good enough. And so what happens when you meet somebody that says you're good enough, you're so used to dating someone with drama that takes you through this up and down roller coaster that you're thinking, I don't feel the spark. I don't feel the it factor. There's no excitement here. We have to shift your way of thinking. So just remember, it will be boring the first week, month or two, but stick with it. You will start to see that dysfunction is because of the drama.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to add on to that, for those of you that have been in any kind of abusive relationship, including narcissists,
Yes.
that is definitely one of the things that's going to show up as boredom because of what he said when he was talking about that whole, up and down roller coaster cycle. If that's what you're used to, and a lot of you, that are watching and listening can relate to, if you have been in relationships like that were a roller coaster, look back at your childhood. It probably was also. In fact, I'm almost positive it was. There was something that was like a roller coaster. It may not have. It's usually something emotional, as far as safety. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a physical thing. It's not like, hey, we moved around all the time. That wouldn't have done it. It would have been something more emotional. But you can always stem those back to childhood. When you know how to deal with something, whether it's abuse or drama or whatever, that's the kind of relationship you find because it's not what you want, but it's what you know. And if it's trauma responses, basically, we talk about those.
Yeah.
Hey, just a quick feedback: are we doing better? I know the Facebook video was a little sketchy for a while. Are we doing a little bit better as far as some consistent video? Just give me some feedback if you would. Comment. I'm going to say date with intention, which is what we're talking about here. So I'm just going to elaborate a little bit. You've got to date with intention, people. Know what you want. And when you find it, stop looking. It is so, so, so key. If you find what you want, stop with the distractions. If you know how many times people tell the same story, when somebody tells you the same story multiple times, that they're talking to other people. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, you already told me that story. You already told it to me like yesterday or whatever. It's exhausting. People want you to pay attention to them, and they deserve your undivided attention. And I can tell you this because I talk to my matchmaking clients about it all the time. Nobody wants to miss out on something, but at the same time, if you don't put your energy into what you have before you and try to find the things that are right and try to find the things that are good, not from a standpoint of settling, because that's different, but from the standpoint of really putting your focus and energy into just that person, those conversations, getting to know them, and giving yourself, and you shouldn't expect it in return either, by the way, if you're not giving it.
Right.
And good. Thank you for the feedback, people. Good video connection we have now. Okay, good. So date with intention. If you want a relationship, it doesn't matter what else is out there. The grass isn't going to be any greener in other places. If it's green right where you are, if it's good right where you are, stop looking.
Yeah. It's always going to be something. When I talk to my married friends now, we look at women differently, and married women look at men differently, because you start noticing that no matter who you with, it's going to be something. It's going to be something that you don't like. It's going to be something that you love. No one's going to be perfect. There's an old saying that there was a woman looking for the perfect man, and the problem was he was looking for the perfect woman. So there's just no one perfect out there. So again, I want you to make sure that your future mate doesn't have all these exterior jobs to do. And what I mean by these jobs, it's not his or her job to, make you feel good about yourself, to make you feel confident, to make you feel attractive, to give you a life, to give you purpose. It's not his or her job. And if you're going into a relationship looking for your partner to do a lot of this exterior work, that you should be doing yourself, it's going to drain the hell out of him and or her. I was like that at one point when I look back on some relationships that, oh my gosh, I was looking for this woman to do a lot of jobs. She had to make me feel good about myself. She had to give me a life, something to do outside of work. And that will be overwhelming and it will drain a person. And, some of you may have dealt with that where you drain the person you dated. So that's something I want you to really look at when you're dating in 2022.
That is such a great point. I always love that when you bring that up, you always say it's not my job or it's not his job or her job. It's interesting because you have these people that get lonely. They're like, I'm lonely. I have nothing to do. Over the holidays, you hear this with people. Well, they'll say, well, I don't have any family, so I really want a relationship because I don't have anything to do. And I just sit around. Well, you know what? You need to get a life first, because that is exactly what he's talking about here is if you're looking for somebody else to make your life complete, to make you happy, to entertain you, so that you're not bored, that's the wrong reason to be in a relationship. You're just looking to fill a space, and that's not fair to anybody.
Absolutely. So, for example, men and women listening to the show right now, think right now of all the things you said that I would do once I'm in a relationship. Or if I were in a relationship, I would do X. Once I'm in a relationship, I would do Y. We've all had that list. I had my list before I got married. We all had that list of what or if we were in a relationship, what would we be doing? What I want you to do is everything that you have in your mind that you say you would want to do if you're in a relationship or when you're in a relationship, I challenge you to do it by yourself. Because that will show you that I'm not looking for a man or looking for a woman to complete me. Remember, we want you to have a complete whole life. The man or the woman you meet is there to add to happiness, not create, add to happiness. So anything that you have in your list that you say, if I had a relationship, I would travel here. Or if I had a relationship, I would go to this high school reunion, blah, 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 blah. Anything you're using a relationship as an excuse not to do, that means your future partner has a job. And anybody that has a job to do, the relationship won't last. It'll be draining. It'll be hellish. And guys, I want you to my job is to get you in a loving, healthy relationship that lasts. I don't want you just to be in a relationship just to say you're in a relationship. I want you to be healthy, happy. And I don't want you to be one of these people that get married and are miserable. I can, me and my wife and some of my friends were just thinking we could only name 2 or 3 people that are happily married. And a lot of people in this listening here can probably only name 2 or 3 people that are happily married. And the reason that is because they didn't do a lot of that eternal work before they got married. They said, I need somebody. I don't care how it comes, hook or crook. I just need to be married. I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm 50. I need to be married, hook or crook. And trust me, when you get married, and if it's not working out, being in a hellish marriage is like living with somebody that you hated working with. Imagine that coworker that you couldn't stand working with, but now it's your roommate. That's what a bad marriage is like.
Yeah, no kidding. Most of the people that are in bad marriages are just trying to figure out how they can get single again. So embrace your singlehood. I can't say that enough. Not that you want to stay that way, but if you are single, like Charles said, embrace it. Do the things that you want to do. Don't put your life on hold and your happiness on hold, and embrace it. At least you're not in a bad relationship. Nobody says you have to be in a relationship at any age. I know there's, societal and family pressure, especially around the holidays. Why aren't you married? Why haven't you found the one? If you're happy, single, that's great. That's wonderful, because that's sometimes when, you will stumble upon the right person. But embrace it, own it, and don't settle, because nothing's worse than having the wrong person in your life. I want to talk about expectations, because it kind of rolls into that too. Expectations versus standards, because it's super big. And again, I feel like people that expect somebody to be a certain way, to say a certain thing, nobody's ever going to be you. And I might sound like a broken record with this, but people, please hear this, because you're still doing it. nobody's going to be you. Nobody's going to say the things that you want them to say because you would say them. Nobody's going to do what you want them to do because you would do that in this circumstance. They are not you. There is an ideal thing that people, we can all sit back and go, well, they should do this. Yes, they're busy, but they should be in communication. We can all look at those things from a common sense standpoint, but we can't make assumptions about somebody else's life or their feelings or, how they feel about you, or the relationship, or if they don't take it seriously, whatever that is. We have to let go of that. If they're not meeting your standards, talk to them about it. Let them know. Like if they're not communicating as much as you'd like them to communicate, tell them. Don't sit around and complain about not hearing from them enough. Let them know that you'd love to hear from them more. Hey, I know you're not a big texter, but I sure would, love to be able to chat with you during the day, or I know you don't really like phone calls, but I would love to, spend 5 minutes on a phone call at the end of the day just to hear your voice. I mean, who's going to turn that down, right? So I just feel like the expectation thing is so big, Charles, and again, the older we get, the higher our expectation gets, and people call it picky. I'm picky. Yeah. No, you're not. No, you're not picky. You're literally eliminating everyone from your life because you're expecting perfection, right? Or you're expecting them to be a robot for you and do exactly what you want them to do. And guess what? It ain't going to happen.
Yeah. And when people are picky, now I'm about to tell you ladies something, and men who are picky. It's going to be tough to hear, but subconsciously you're self-sabotaging yourself. Now, consciously you're thinking you're looking for, a certain type of man, a certain type of woman to fit or to check off all these boxes, but subconsciously, because of some hurt or something that you've experienced in the past, deep down, your subconscious that what you're looking for is unrealistic and will not happen. The best predictor of what's going to happen on Friday, look at what happened on Thursday, Wednesday, and Tuesday. What I mean by that is the best predictor of will you meet this perfect man or perfect woman, you just got to look at your past and you have not met that person. So, but Jennifer gave some great advice about, speak your mind. We're not in high school anymore where I don't want to seem lame. I don't want to seem this. I don't want to seem that. If there's something you need out of a relationship, we're grown adults. Open your mouth and say it. Look at it like you did your career. When you're looking for your career, you had a list of things that you're looking for. There are some non-negotiables: salary, industry, work-life balance, vacation, insurance. You have those non-negotiables, but then those other arbitrary things you're open to working with and having conversations with. Just like you would your job. If your job was not doing something that you liked, if your manager did something that you disliked, you open your mouth and say something. You don't just sit there in silence, because remember, silence is acceptance. And a lot of times, guys, we may not know any better. Women, they may not know any better because everyone has different love languages. My wife's love language is words of affirmation and touch. But what we tend to do is give the love language that we like to the person that we're partnering with. So, for example, I would send roses to my wife's job every quarter. That's just not her. She will, whether it be private, inside the house, just she and her, just she and me. No big pomp and circumstance where everybody's coming around her desk. But we tend to do that where our love language because see, I like stuff like that. I like, send something to my job, show everybody, oh my gosh, look at what my wife did. So just because that's what I like, that's not what she likes. Now I love it because I don't have to spend, $80 on 1-800-Flowers every quarter, send it to her job. But my point is, just because you love something and you have a particular way of receiving love, that may not be that person's. But like Jennifer said, just be open. If you want a phone call, a nice little text message, just say, hey, it'd be nice to send a text message every other day to say, I'm thinking about you. And when someone's serious, they wouldn't mind trying. Now, if someone's not serious about you, then they're not giving you a second thought, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You are 100% right. And, that leads me into the same thing. Like you said, we're not in high school anymore. Say what you mean, use your voice. The games, the games
Yes.
too, where people go, oh, well, I can't, reach out to the guy, he's got to do everything first. I can't text her or call her or ask her out for another 3 days after the first date. I've got to leave a little mystery. Come on. These things are like so outdated. If people are intentional about dating and finding love, they're looking for someone who's going to be in their life. And it's so important that you stay present in somebody's life. It is one of my top things. If you're not in somebody's, I don't want to say in their face, but if you're not in their space, they're going to forget about you. If you're not staying involved somehow, communicating, seeing each other, finding time for lunch or dinner or something, even if you have busy schedules and kids. I know some of you are juggling, kids on both ends. It's hard. Find the time to connect, because if you're not finding the time to connect with them, with your person, and they're going to find time to connect with somebody, or somebody else is going to find a way to connect with them. And it's so important that we do that we realize that this is a precious commodity. If you find something that is good, that is working, that works for you, it's not a dime a dozen. You may take you 10, 15 years to find it again. Sorry, but it's true. If you have a great connection with somebody, nurture it. Nurture, nurture, nurture. Effort, effort, effort. So important. And the effort part is almost separate for me, because that's a whole conversation in itself. But I have to say, the communication part, saying how you feel, don't hold back. We're not children. If you like somebody, tell them. Charles, yesterday or the day before, it could have been last week with the way my week's been going. Somebody had commented that has been out of the dating scene for a long time. He said things have changed, and he said he got online dating and was meeting women and telling them that he just wanted to be friends with them, just wanted to get to know them. He didn't want to sleep with them. He was trying to be a gentleman and say, I want to take things slow and get to know you. But instead he said, I just want to be friends with you. And there is, I think we need to clear that up, because yes, you don't want to give the impression that you're just trying to, have a one-night stand with somebody. And yes, you do need to be best friends with your partner. And yes, you do need to take the time to get to know them as a friend. But if you leave the love part out, you're just going to have a bunch of friends.
Yeah, and not only that, it's going to send a message to women that, he may not be serious. So
yes.
Yeah, I would tell that guy, I love his approach, but I would tell him to say, yes, I'm looking for someone to be friends with that I could eventually fall in love with. If again, in his defense, if that is his ultimate goal. Now, if he's just looking for, friends, then, then okay.
Then get off the dating site.
Yeah, get off the dating, save your money.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for actual love and relationships, then yeah, it's good to be friends with the person that you're going to be with. You're right. Your spouse or your partner should be your best friend. And just kind of touch on what you said right before this about the gains and being afraid to take chances. A lot of people don't know this, but I met my wife on Match.com. And a quick story: when we first connected online, we talked maybe every other day for maybe a few weeks. But she's dating people, I'm dating multiple people, and you just lose touch. And then out of the blue, about a month later, she just reached out to me and said, hey, how you doing? And that started the whole process again. Now, she could have easily played the whole quote unquote game and said, well, he hasn't talked to me, he hasn't called me, so I'm not going to call him. But she took a chance, reached out to me. And guess what? If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. No big deal. But don't play these games. Don't play these games of, I just went on a date on Thursday. If he calls me on Friday or she calls me on Friday, I'm not going to pick up the phone. If you're sitting there looking at a phone ring and you have nothing else to do, then you're playing games. But if you're truly busy and you have a full life, Like you're going to salsa dancing, you're going out of town, you're doing this, and you're dating multiple people, you're truly busy. But please, just let's stop the game plan, people.
Yeah, no, and it's such great advice because, being a woman and an old-fashioned woman, because women, we like a man to court us. Guys, I'm not sure that you know what that means anymore, but sorry, love you, but not sure that all of you know what that means anymore. I think men have gotten very lazy. That's probably another class we could do, another show. And again, Charles, I'm not bashing men. I just, as motivated as men are today to get in a relationship, they can be quite lazy when it comes to pursuing women. And I do think I think we're way more on point now than we've ever been as far as people wanting a relationship. But I think all the years of, prior to COVID, of people wasting time and all the games that were played and all the things that, sorry guys, that you got away with, that ladies, shame on you for letting them get away with. There's a lot of bad habits going around out there. And, we have got to, as women, stop accepting that and speak up like your wife did, your now wife did. We've got to stop accepting that. And ladies, stop allowing men to treat you like that. I mean, if they aren't giving you what you want, if you want to talk to them more, if you want to go out more, if you want to know where you stand, ask, talk about it, make a phone call, send a text message out. It's okay to do that. You don't have to ask a man out on a date. You don't have to ask a man to go to bed with you. I mean, and you girls are doing it, I hear, but which I'm not happy about. But you can at least dabble. If you plant the seed, you put it out there. A little, hey, how you doing? Hey, haven't heard from you. How are you? You're not being aggressive or asking a man out by doing that. You're just placing yourself back in their life, and then they just like you did, they can act on it or not, and put the effort in if they're available. So, or if you're not getting what you want, ladies, in that relationship, and maybe you like the guy and you want more, talk about it, have a conversation about it. We are adults. Or you can sit back and think about it and want more and never say anything. And then 6 months, 8 months, a year, or 2 years down the road, you realize you're in different places because you never had the courage to say anything. Don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. Be an adult and have a conversation. Use your voice.
Speak up, have a conversation. Don't do the same things you've been doing. That's the whole point of the show. We don't want you doing the same things you've been doing in the past. Let's switch it up, do something different, and just have a conversation. And again, like she said about men being lazy, yeah, we have gotten lazy. But guess what? Women allow it. Yes. You women have I say this almost every show, you guys have so much power. I mean, everything we do is to impress women. It's not to impress a dog. It's not to impress our friends. It's not to impress our coworker. It is to impress women. The nice car, to impress a woman. The nice shirt, to impress a woman. Haircut, teeth brush, everything. Cologne, to impress women. But like Jennifer said, you have taken the order of things out, and so you allow men to get lazy. Like I was at a restaurant the other day, and now women are going to strip clubs to find men. Now, come on. That means 10, 15, 20 years ago, that would have been unheard of. But now women are doing that because they think this is someplace I need to go to find men. So women, we follow your lead. If you let us be lazy, we'll be lazy. If you hold us to the fire and give us those standards like our parents did, then we'll treat you the way you need to be treated. But yes, you're right. If you're going to be lazy, if you're going to not have those high standards and let men sleep with you, say nice things for you for a week, and all of a sudden think you found your husband, then you're right. Yeah, men will be lazy, but women, you guys allow it. Change it, and you'll see a lot of changes in the men too.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to somebody just a couple of weeks ago, and she was out on a date with a guy, first date, and why she offered to pay half, I don't know, but she did, and he accepted. And no. If a man asks you out, ladies, he pays. If you ask him out, then you pay. you know, but if you don't ask him out, don't pay. You know, I'm just thinking about roles and jobs and, you know, and how that whole courting process works, where women mess up the courting process. And that's one of them. I was out to dinner with my mom and dad maybe last week sometime, and my dad was, you know, picking up the check, and I said, what if I paid, you know, what if I offered? And he said, you know, I would never let you do that. It's my job. You'd be taking away my job as a man to take care of you and do something special for you. That's the way I raised you. And I mean, I already knew he was going to say that. That's why I threw it out there. But I did want to hear it. And you know, luckily I was raised that way, but some of you may not have been. Ladies, it's not your job if you go in like that with a man where you're, you know, splitting the bill, you're splitting expenses for the house I mean, I get it, when you're together, that's what you do. But it's these separate bank accounts, all this, you know, mine, yours, all this separation doesn't work. You know, it doesn't work, and it takes away the yin and the yang and the masculine and the feminine and all of that. And for goodness sakes, going to meet a man at a strip club, then you're going to bitch a year later when he's going to the strip club without you, looking for something else, when that's where you met him, you know. And you know, Charles, it's interesting because I do have women ask me all the time, where do I meet men? If I'm not going online to meet men or women, where do I meet them? Well, go have some interests, right? Have some interests and go where your interests are. If you like roller skating, maybe you'll meet a man where you're roller skating. If you like hiking or the arts or art galleries or music or whatever, I mean, it doesn't matter what you like, golfing, whatever you like doing, find somebody else that likes doing that, and then you have a foundation and commonalities in your life. Go do that. And if you must, you know, choose to go out to do it, if it's going to be a go out, I'll tell you right now, and you know, we're in the month of December, there's lots of parties and a lot of things going on. Hit those happy hours, people, the 5 to 6:30s. Hit those early happy hours, because there's a lot of people that are going to have a festive drink, you know, with their coworkers or friends, but then they're going home because they're not alcoholics, staying at a bar drinking all night. So go find those people that are there, you know, to hang out with their friends for a short period of time, have a bite to eat, have a drink or two, and then go home, right? Those are good times.
Yeah, so this goes back to what you said earlier about having an open and a full life. So again, like for me, before I got married and figured out my issues, all I did was go to work and come home. Work, come home, and online date. Work, come home, online date. And my entertainment or my life was just online dating or going out on dates. And when I wasn't dating, all I did was work or I was at the house. And so after having an intervention with my sister about some of my issues, we decided that you need to have more of a full open life. Get back to those hobbies. I love to play tennis. Start playing tennis again. I wanted to learn how to speak Spanish. I did that. So think about all the things you've always wanted to do or wanted to learn, and just start doing them. And again, you will be surprised who you meet. Now, you may not meet your husband at the event, but you may meet your husband's friend at that event. So it could be he's going to introduce you or she's going to introduce you to a great, you just never know. But sitting behind the four walls and just going to work, that means your husband's only going to meet you at the gas station or at the grocery store. And I'll tell you right now, if you're one of those fast walkers at the grocery store, all men are going to do is stare, and they're not going to say a word. They're just going to let you go about your business. And the only ones that will approach you are the jerks. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Yeah, or I know Ziggy, our producer's laughing at you, or your phone. People they may go to a coffee house or sit at a nice bar at a restaurant and have dinner, and they're on their phone their whole time. If you're not looking up and around and engaging with people and eye contact, you're not going to meet anybody there either. So you've got to make yourself open, put yourself in positions where you could meet people, like, whether it be intentional or non-intentional. Go get out, have fun, meet people.
Yeah, and like you said, stay off your phone. Just be approachable. Women, you guys don't understand how much anxiety a lot of men go through when they walk up to a woman cold. Somebody they never know that, and they just have to go up to you straight cold. It takes a lot of balls. And a lot of men, any man that's listened to this will tell you that if you get shut down harshly, and every woman at some point in your life, you probably have just been brutal to a man when he tries to approach you. That's we're human too. That hurts. So do things to be open and approachable, so that if a man, if you're not interested, he will walk away with his dignity. He will walk away with his self-esteem. And again, that's if you approach it correctly. But yeah, stay off your phone. If you see a guy staring at you and he hasn't talked to you, walk up and say hello to him. That, we're not telling you to go ask him out and pay for the date, but just open the door so he can walk in it. Now, some men are very aggressive, some men are not. So you just have to be open.
Yeah, and I think you're making a really important point too. And you don't have to. People sometimes go right in for the love. I'm not attracted to them. They're not my type. I don't like this about them or that about them. I can't see myself married to them. And we're jumping right in with that initially. Take the expectation off of people when you meet them. You don't have to, they're not interviewing them for a long-term relationship or marriage with you. You're just getting to know a person. And so often people miss things because they're not paying attention and they're not present and they're not listening and they're not just trying to get to know somebody. They're having all these expectations that are getting in the way of them actually getting to know them. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I know she watches the podcast. She's not going to mind me saying this, but we were talking about things that we miss in a conversation. So she's recapping this conversation she had with somebody, trying to gauge some information out of it, and she was answering her own question. She was like, "Oh, wait a second. He said this, and he said this." And so a lot of her questions were answered. She was so not in the moment. And when he would say something, her mind would be thinking something else. Well, maybe he means this, or maybe he means that, or, whatever. Instead of just listening to hear, she was listening with an agenda.
Yeah.
And if you listen with an agenda, you're going to miss the person.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like an old adage I used to tell women when I'm helping them with dating is, when you go out on a date, and this goes for men too, when you go out on a date, don't jump to Super Bowl. And what I mean by that, the football analogy, before you go to the Super Bowl, you have to have training camp. Then you have to have preseason. Then you have to have regular season. Then you have to have playoffs. Then you go to the Super Bowl. What I mean by don't jump to Super Bowl is, if you're jumping to Super Bowl, that means you're already putting this pressure on. How would it be if you met my parents? What would it be like if we went on a trip? What would it be like for this? What do we do? You're already taking that one date 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps down the road. Just be open and relax. I got to the point of being so open that even if I wasn't, let's say a friend of mine tried to set me up with a girl, and, we went out, wasn't attracted to her, but I still went out with her. We had a good time. And we realized that, and I was honest with her, we realized we weren't a good match. But she thought I was a good guy, so she introduced it to somebody else. You just never know people. So don't go into every date with an agenda, thinking that, okay, if he doesn't fit all my parameters, then it's a done deal. Just be open. Because some of you that are listening haven't been out on dates in a long, long time. And that's because just to go out on a simple date, every box has to be checked. So for those, especially men and women who haven't been on a date in a long time, I don't care if you're attracted to her or not attracted to her. You just need to get back out there and just start dating.
I personally love that advice.
Ziggy loves that advice. So I think that there's, the two opposite ends of the spectrum. You've got people that never go out on dates, and just go. And then you've got the people that don't stop going on dates and don't even know who they're going out with and don't care who they're going out with. You know, these people that talk about, oh, they weren't who they said they were, and you know, they showed up and as different. Well, you didn't do your homework. You didn't do your research. You didn't spend enough time getting to know them. You know, you could have done video, FaceTime, there's a million things you could have done to get to know them better before you met with them. Don't be in such a hurry. But having said that, also, if your guys are doing this online thing, you need to meet. You know, nobody wants to be your text buddy. And that was what the guy was saying the other day. He said, I want to just text him for a few weeks and get to know him. No, women don't want to do that. That's not, if your intention is to date and to find love, then you need to meet them. It's okay to build a friendship as you're going into a loving relationship. That's what it's about. But nobody wants to have a texting relationship with somebody. It's just, nobody has that kind of time to waste, and nobody's going to waste their time. So be intentional.
You're absolutely right. And to your point, if you go out on a date with somebody and their picture doesn't look like what they thought, if you walk in, here's a test and a clue to let you know if you're jumping the Super Bowl or putting too much pressure on the date. If you meet a beautiful woman or a woman, you meet a great looking guy online and you meet him in person and he, nowhere near what you thought it was going to be. If you have this inner disappointment in your heart and your gut, you put too much pressure on it. So what? Just go out, enjoy yourself, have an open, free spirit about it. And have a good time, get to know the person. And if it's not a good fit, you just don't know who that person is going to introduce. I'm just telling you because I've seen too many people I've helped find love get introduced with somebody that dated at one point, maybe went on 1 or 2 dates and it wasn't a good fit, and that person introduced them to somebody and ended up getting married. So just be open. You never know.
That's true. It's a very, very good point. Well, I do not want to, we only have a few minutes left, so I wanted to not leave this last point off. And I know we've kind of slipped it into all of them, but I want to talk about that effort thing, that effort word. Effort coupled with consistency, right? So there are two big words for me in the dating world and in a relationship world. This is where it's at. You put, as we said from the beginning, you put your energy in. You are present with that person. You eliminate all the other options you have. Focus on that one person and give them your all. Somebody wants to know they have somebody in their life. That's what they want a relationship for, is a partnership. There's two people. You have a great day. You want to share something. Who do you share it with? When you have somebody in your life and they're not around for that, you're missing out. So you've got to put the effort in. Guys, when you're in this, I'm talking to you specifically on this because it is your job as a man to put the effort in at the beginning to court a woman and let her know that you like her. Women, it is your job also to reciprocate, right? So you want to give that guy buying signs. Let him know you're interested. Let him know you'd love to see him again. Let him know you enjoyed your time with him. It's a two-way street on that, but effort. There needs to be something, and communicate, as I said. And it needs to be consistent, because when there's gaps, right? When there's gaps, especially the closer you start to get to somebody, if they start to feel a connection and then all of a sudden you disappear for a day and a half, it creates a gap, and it doesn't work. And this is the thing that is killing you guys out there. It's killing you. I'm telling you, it's killing you from finding love. Stop leaving the gaps. Be consistent. Put the effort in, put energy into the other person. If you like them, you don't have to overwhelm them. You don't have to, blow up their phone with text messages all day, but you do need to stay in their existence, in their world, in their orbit, right? Stay there. Let them feel you, get used to you, because that's how we desire somebody. When they make our space better, we want them there. When they don't doing anything for our space, it doesn't matter if they leave, right? So, do you have anything you'd like to add to that? I know I just drove that one home.
No, I think you're right. You just got to put the effort in. You got to put the energy into it. But as we started at the beginning of the show, is what type of energy are you putting into it? Is it good energy or is it bad energy? Are you putting the energy where you're looking for your total package and you need him to have he or she to have these lofty jobs to do? Or are you going into with the energy and the open-mindedness of, you know what, I'm going to find love this year. I will be open. I will be open to how I find love, where I find love, when I find love, and be open to what love looks like. So I will close this out by saying, make sure next year your biggest key is that you're open and you just try something new. You've been trying it your way for the last 5-6 years. It hasn't worked. What the hell? Try something new and see what happens.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. That is the key. If what you've been searching for and what you've been looking for, you can't find it and you're getting hopeless about it, you might be searching in the wrong place. So be open that it may look or feel or sound different than you think it's supposed to. Cannot drive that home enough. That is, I mean, as a matchmaker, that's what I do. I put people together that I know are, from a core standpoint, they are going to get each other. They're going to like things about each other. It may not be everything, but it is your job to be open to the possibility of them looking different than you thought they would, or looking different than the other relationships that you've had, or because some of them are dysfunctional that you're getting out of, or you'd still be in them. So that openness is so important. Go into 2022 open, prepared, and eliminate what you don't want. Stop wasting your time if you are out there dating things that you like, and exhausted dating what you don't want. Stop it. Be more precise, be more intentional. Only go out with people that meet your somewhat criteria. If you like who they are, even if you're not attracted to them, I promise, meet them anyway. You'd be amazed the difference between the way somebody looks in pictures and the way that they present in person. It could be night and day.
Sounds good. I mean, let's just be open and just give it a chance, guys. You just never know.
Okay, so one thing I do know is that we've got a big football game tomorrow that we're going to win. So that's all literally, it's all I've been thinking about for like 2 weeks now. So thank you all for being here. So we are going to, I'm going to be off next week. Next Friday, I'm not going to have a podcast. I'm going to be out of town. So we're going to see you 2 weeks from now. So I'm going to miss you guys, but tune in 2 weeks. We'll see you back for the Lovability Show. Have a great day and go dogs.
That's right. It's that time of year, and holiday happiness starts with Dean Kingston Dermatology. Now through December 31st, if you call Dean Kingston Dermatology, you can get up to 20% off all neurotoxins. That's right, 20% off. Call 469-388-0474. That's 469-388-0474 for all your dermatology needs.
This is Jennifer. Thanks for listening today, and please subscribe to the podcast. Every single week we'll have new information, and if you'd like to find out more information or if you have any questions, please go to my website at lovejen.com, or you can find me on Facebook at my personal page, Jennifer Stiers.